And I think I have a few more sentences to say, but I keep on forgetting those sentences in Spanish. All right, but it is a huge pleasure to be with you and to share some teaching strategies with you. So let's make a deal. If you like it, please smile. And if you don't like it very much, smile even more. So I feel very confident on this side. All right. So let's have a deal. We will always smile. All right. So I will share my screen and do let me know if you can see it. And when I'm referring to something that is not looking right to you, just wave and let me know. All right. Okay. So thank you, Paula and Magali, for introducing me. Yes, I'm a teacher, and what I do on a daily basis is teaching. So I'm teaching kids of 12, 13, 14, and 15 years old. And in the evening, I work at the university where I train teachers to become teachers. They're already teaching, but they're trying to get specialized in special needs or as English teachers. And one of the most common questions they ask me is, Rom, how can we motivate these kids, this new generation? Because they have the internet and it takes a second to get an answer. And when you try to learn a new language, it takes more than a second to learn it. So sometimes they don't find it very interesting. And I decided to get some ideas that it's not a recipe, it doesn't work everywhere, but it might help some of you. All right, so let's go on this journey. This is me. Every time in the morning when I'm teaching the passive voice, I am super excited. I do love passive voice. Reported speech and passive voice are my favorite topics. However, my students do not feel exactly the same way. And if our goal is to teach students, and if we want them to learn, we have to make it work. So I got some ideas. When I got very busy classes, when they are challenging, they their behavior is not the best one. They start the lesson running and rushing and pushing and pulling everything and everyone. Those kind of classes. And there are so many because our classes, there are 30 of them at the same time. So we always start with the silent game. And this is a very easy game. So there is just one rule. You cannot make any noise when you enter the classroom. So they have to enter quietly and sit down. And the teacher will hand out a laminated cards. I'll show you one example, which is something like this, right? Where you can write with a pen and you can delete with alcohol, for example, or a piece of cloth. Okay. And my goal is that they do not happen to open the books or do anything, just get their laminated boards and the pen to write on them. And we are going to practice vocabulary. So I start, okay, so this will remember what's the name of these. Can you write it down? And they have to write it down and show it to me like that. Okay. And I'll just go around the corner and then around the class saying, very good, well done. And if they do not show me, it's because they're not studying. And they always get a prize for the best one. And the prize is, oh, very good. So we can start our lesson now. What are the advantages? We do can practice vocabulary, and at the same time they get excited and they're punctual because we will start with the game where no books are needed. So that's quite positive. And each of the students in the classroom can participate because we get one laminated board for each student. To give you a clue, 30 laminated cards and 30 pens and 30 rubbers cost about 20 in dollars, $25. We pay for it 20 pounds in sterling pounds from the United Kingdom, right? So it's not very expensive and it lasts for several years. So eventually it's something that we can easily afford. Okay, so that's our first activity every lesson. So all students, when they start to not behave properly, when they are in the classroom, they are starting to move and they are bored. So this you can play this anytime that you want. Another thing that we started doing a couple of years ago is share our responsibility. In the past, I used to believe that I had to teach them, and that was my goal. But nowadays, I do believe that I have to teach them and they have to learn from me. Okay, and together it will work perfectly. So I always write on the board, as soon as they get in, they can read on the board what's my goal today. And today, my goal is to share a couple of strategies with you, and you'll see that on the board. And in the end of the lesson, I will ask them, so did you achieve the goal? If I'd like you to learn the passive voice, did you manage to learn it? Can you apply it in a sentence, for example? So we always share what we want to do in the lesson. It's never a surprise. So setting up the learning goal is very important. However, we don't learn all in the same way, do we? And we are all different. So some people learn with their eyes, they have to see to learn. Some people have to listen to learn. Some people have to read to learn. So it really depends on the learner. So even though the goal is the same, the way that you learn is not necessarily the same. For example, when I teach the passive voice, I can tell my kids, okay, guys, I'm going to write on the board and I'm going to explain to you what are the changes in the sentence from the active to the passive voice. However, if you feel that you are not understanding what I'm saying, feel free to open the student's book, the course book, and to read the information on page 20. And if you need to check a mobile because you are dependent on mobiles and the internet, go to this website, for example, British Council Learn English website, and study this topic as well. So you can choose between listen to me, read from the book, or go online. My goal is that in 45 minutes, you can do a sentence transformation for passive and active voice. Okay. And I want you to share your knowledge with me. Because when I ask you to do some exercises, you can do from the course book, from the workbook, online, or even ask me or copy from the board. So choose your own option to learn as far as you are able to share your knowledge with me in the end of the lesson. So our lesson is divided by the game in the very beginning, and then we'll share a topic, and you can choose different pathways to learn it. Then we're going to apply the learning, and then you have to share the learning with the others. Okay, so it is a strategy called think, pair, and share. Okay, and this happens every lesson. So they have to understand why they are learning this, what they are going to learn, and how can they do it. Okay, and this is based on a theory which is called universal design for learning. And the goal of this theory is that when you try to teach someone, you should remove as many barriers as you can from the learning process. If you have a deaf in your classroom, can you talk to him? He will not hear you, right? If he's blind, he cannot read from the board, for example. So you do know that you have to adapt your teaching methods. So universal design for learning encourages you to present learning in many options available. What did I learn? That kids at 12, they were not ready to choose. However, if you teach them that they can choose and if they can learn in different ways, so we don't consider that they are all the same in the classroom. We never say that. You're not all the same. You don't have all to do the same thing. You have all to achieve the learning goal, but you can choose your own way. So somehow encourage them to respect each individual. You know, there are fast learners, there are slow learners. It doesn't matter. You have to achieve your own goal that is set up for the class. Okay. There is a brilliant YouTube video that lasts 4 minutes. I do encourage you to go online and to write on Google Universal Design for Learning, okay, plus YouTube, and you can watch it. It lasts 4 minutes and you can see it. I am more than happy to play it over here if you want to. Is it a good idea? Shall I do it? Yeah? Okay, so I will stop sharing now and I will get the other one. Give me a sec. Opa. I will paste the link over here if it is easier for you. Okay, and I will share it now. All right. For example, when you share a video, as in my case, shall I add subtitles in English or in Spanish or in Portuguese? It really depends. What's my goal? If my goal is to improve your English, I would suggest no subtitles so you can listen. Or if my goal is to improve your reading, I would encourage you, let's add some subtitles in English so you can read English. And if my goal is to understand the topic of the video, the content, it doesn't matter if it is in Spanish or in English because I'm worried about the content. So the learning goal is very, very important. Okay. So I'm going to play it. If you cannot listen to it properly, you've got the link on the chat box. Okay. Feel free to watch it. It lasts about 4 minutes.
This teacher needs to meet a curriculum goal, and she's got a very diverse group of students. And so does this teacher. And this one. Most do. In fact, research shows that the way people learn is as unique as their fingerprints. What does this mean for teachers of today? Classrooms are highly diverse, and curriculum needs to be designed from the start to meet this diversity. Universal design for learning is an approach to curriculum that minimizes barriers and maximizes learning for all students. Whoa, that's a fancy term. Universal design for learning. Let's unpack it a bit. Let's think about the word universal. By universal, we mean curriculum that can be used and understood by everyone. Each learner in a classroom brings her own background, strengths, needs, and interests. Curriculum should provide genuine learning opportunities for each and every student. Now let's think about the word learning. Learning is not one thing. Neuroscience tells us that our brains have three broad networks. One for recognition, the what of learning, one for skills and strategies, the how of learning, and one for caring and prioritizing, the why of learning. Students need to gain knowledge, skills, and enthusiasm for learning, and a curriculum needs to help them do all three. But every learner is unique, and one size does not fit all. So how do we make a curriculum that challenges and engages diverse learners? This is where the word design comes in. A universally designed building is planned to be flexible and to accommodate all kinds of users, with and without disabilities. It turns out that if you design for those in the margins, your building works better for everyone. Curb cuts and ramps are used by people in wheelchairs, people with strollers, and people on bikes. Captioning on TV serves people who are deaf, people learning English, people in gyms, and spouses who get to sleep at different times. UDL takes this idea and applies it to the design of flexible curriculum. UDL goes beyond access because we need to build in support and challenge. So how do we use the UDL framework to make learning goals, methods, materials, and assessments that work for everyone? First, ask yourself, what is my goal? What do I want my students to know, do, and care about? Then ask, what barriers in the classroom might interfere with my diverse students reaching these goals? To eliminate the barriers, use the 3 UDL principles to create flexible paths to learning so that each student can progress. Number 1, provide multiple means of representation. Present content and information in multiple media and provide varied supports. Use graphics and animation, highlight the critical features, activate background knowledge, and support vocabulary so that students can acquire the knowledge being taught. Number 2, provide multiple means of action and expression. Give students plenty of options for expressing what they know and provide models, feedback, and supports for their different levels of proficiency. Number 3, provide multiple means of engagement. What fires up one student won't fire up another. Give students choices to fuel their interests in autonomy. Help them risk mistakes and learn from them. If they love learning, they will persist through challenges. And remember, always keep in mind the learning goal. Get rid of barriers caused by the curriculum and keep the challenge where it belongs. And that's it. Okay, quick recap. Show the information in different ways, allow your students to approach learning tasks and demonstrate what they know in different ways, and offer options that engage students and keep their interest. Universal design for learning equals learning opportunities for all. For more information on UDL,
right.
go to www.cast.org.
Was it easy to understand? Yeah.
Yes.
Good, good. Okay, so we do apply the universal design for learning in all subjects, in all classes. It doesn't matter if they are very young or very mature, we always apply it, okay? So this is our second strategy. Okay, so remember, if they are all equal, if you mention that, it means that you will not provide opportunities for all, right? If you focus on disadvantage, you will highlight the disadvantage one. So our goal nowadays is to remove as many barriers as we can, all right? This is another example. This is a course book, okay? The page on my left-hand side, this one, is exactly the same content as on this one. On this side, you do have pictures, you do have two postcards together, so the text is not presented in one sentence only, and the exercise mixes both texts. On this side, we divided the postcards 1 and 2, and this exercise is also divided for here and on this one. So somehow this way is easier to read than that one. However, the content is exactly the same. So it's not the language that is easier, it is the content. And the font as well, it's different, okay? So sometimes we've got some students with different needs and different learning needs that might need this kind of page. If they suffer from ADHD, for example, if they pay attention to many things at the same time, if they cannot focus, this page on the right, it's easier than the one on the left. So this is just one example of removing barriers. Okay, so this is strategy number 3. Okay, the traffic light assessment. So we do have this kind of cardboards on the table, and when we are presenting a topic, or if the students are working individually, as they can follow different methods, they do have 3 cards. A green, which means that he's doing all right, so he doesn't need me at all, and yellowish, a kind of yellowish, that means that he needs me, and a red that he doesn't understand anything at all what is being taught. So they just have to follow, they don't have to interrupt me when I'm presenting, or when they are studying on their own, autonomy learning, they have just to place the card on the table, and I will see the colors, and I will know who shall I address first. If they've got red students, I have to go there right away. If they are green, they are more than fine. And if I've got too many red students, eventually it is time to stop the class and teach for all at the same time then, okay? Or if I've got a couple of reds and many greens, eventually I can ask one of the green students to go there and help his peer. So it works quite well. We hand them out in the beginning of the school year, and they just keep them in their bookcase, and it's very easy. Okay, another thing that we do is praise, praise, and praise, especially if they are younger, right? That's very, very important. And we try to focus on a staircase. So when you've got a student, it's like a staircase. And sometimes teachers tend to look up to the top of the staircase, and we want them to behave well, and we want them to learn English, and we want them to speak proper English, and we want them to have a beautiful handwriting, and we want them to bring their material into the classroom. And sometimes that fails because we want everything at the same time. So our goal is to look to the staircase, to the very top of it, and that's our goal. But it's not today. Today is just one step at a time. Okay, one step at a time, and we will get there. So try to modify one behavior at a time. Otherwise, you're always saying you never do your homework. Eventually, that's a lie. He has done one time in 200 times that you've sent homework home, for example, but it is once. So let's give feedback. It's very important. And let's try to focus on the good things, not on the bad ones. So instead of saying, oh, today you got a red color in my classroom, which means that you did not behave properly. We don't do that anymore. So we tend to assess them, their behavior with a color, red or green or blue eventually. And sometimes we used to mention that, oh, you got red today. Nowadays we do it in a different way. We say you got green today only. Or if they are quite young learners, we have a reward chart. So we are going to write individual, and we are going to write our goals over here. Bring your materials into the classroom. Be quiet in the classroom. Work as hard as you can. And every day the student has to self-assess his behavior. And as you can see with the star, there are 5 different colors, and he has to assess them. Okay, so he glues his star over there, and we give them a prize when he achieves, for example, 10 of this color, 5 of this color. There are 5 different colors over here, but just 4 over there. Because the one that is not a very good behavior, we don't focus on that one. We just focus on the ones that give him a prize. And the prize is something like, we can sing a song in the classroom, you can go into the playground 2 minutes earlier, or you are the king of the class today and you give him a crown or something like that. It's never a toy, it's sometimes a chocolate, something really, really meaningful and emotionally appreciated by the students. Also, when that does not work, and because they do challenge us, we have this kind of paper that we glue on their notebook, and we try to catch them being good. Instead of saying you are never a good boy, you are very naughty, when he's good in the classroom, we try to go there and say, very good, I caught you being good because you were helping your friend, for example. You were not criticizing your peers. You did your homework. You brought your material. You look super handsome today. Whatever you want, but you try to motivate them. Okay, for the positive sides, instead of blaming them for everything. We also keep them busy at all times. So this is a reader, and we've got 3 short stories, okay, in this reader. And one is for the first term from September to December, and the short story is about Halloween, right, which is the topic that we celebrate. And the second one is from January to March, and the topic is the carnival that we celebrate. And then from April to July, we've got a summer study visit. And when they are free, when they are fast finishers, for example, they know that they can get a short story and they can read the short story. And this short story was written by us. And at the same time that you read, so we've got different fonts and we've got different activities. So this is an activity. So it's a kind of reading and doing games at the same time, like a word search or find the differences or match anything. So we just want to keep them busy. So if they are free because they are fast learners, and if I have to ask them to wait a couple of minutes while the rest of the class finishes, they can be useful. So they can get some information, and it's a kind of a free time game. Okay, and reading for pleasure is very important. We also celebrate culture. Okay, we do believe that learning a language is pretty much related to the culture. So here we are more related to the United Kingdom because it's closer to us, and it is a very common place to immigrate and to move. So this was in November for our Halloween. So we tend to wear a black plastic bag, right, to pretend that we are ghosts, and we carve pumpkins, and kids love doing this. Sometimes, if you're very good with arts and crafts, you can do that as well, and you can decorate the school. Okay, and this is one example. We also do some cooking. So this week we are celebrating Christmas, which will be in a couple of days, and we decided to do a chocolate rolls thing that we eat over here. So it is a Portuguese recipe, but it was written in English because we also want them to value our own culture. Sometimes when we teach the British culture, they tend to believe that the Britons are better than the Portuguese, which is not necessarily that way. So we try to tell them that there are advantages in the British culture that we love, and there are advantages on the Portuguese culture that we love as well. So both cultures are important. No culture is better than the other. It's just different. So we try to encourage them using the English language to learn the cultural side of it. And for example, we encourage them to play as well. Being a kid is wonderful because you can play. We cannot play when we are old, can we? Uh, Teachers cannot play. So we encourage them when we teach directions, go straight ahead, turn right on the second, do the roundabout, turn left. When you teach them, so why don't you bring your small car, small toys, small dolls, small whatever you want, and let's draw a road and you can play for a couple of minutes. Okay, so we teach you. So let's say, okay, Tomas, where do you want to go? I want to go to the bakery. Okay, so get your little mini car and let's go to the bakery and read out the way that you are doing. So you are going straight away, then you are going to turn right, and they love it. They can do that in turns. They practice their English. I am not complaining every time about the grammar tense and the word that you should say this way or that way. I want them to communicate in English for fun as well. Because if they do that for fun, if we engage them, they can do that in the classroom with me after. Okay, so we also allow them to play at school. Okay, and inclusion is very important. So our school is quite big. We've got about 2,000 students. 150 of them are special needs students. So some kind of disability or a syndrome or a difference, for example. So we do cater for all of them. And for example, we do use reading rulers. So reading ruler, some students suffer from visual stress. So you cannot read properly because somehow it seems that the letters jump or you jump lines or you read a different word and that's not written over there. It comes out of your mind and you cannot understand why. Right? For example, did you say a bad thing or I slept in my bed? And sometimes they confuse the A with the E and the sound and the accent and the spelling as well. So one of the reasons is because the white paper and the black ink causes you visual stress. So it will help you if you have a plastic ruler which costs less than a dollar, right? In a light color with the line over there, and you just place it on the notebook or the course book, and the white is no longer white. You've got a kind of a shade, and you will not jump lines because you cannot read the line below that one. So it will help you. Okay, so frames, reading rulers, or colored paper helps a lot this kind of learners. And you can see all of that on this website over here. You can buy online, or at least you can inspire yourself to build your own material online here, okay? So just Google dyslexia shop, and you'll have lots of material over there. From pens to pencils, writing, colored paper, pads, whatever, okay? Also, we try to use a special font. So this is totally free. You can download for free. There is no registration or whatsoever. Okay, you can download to iPad, to a tablet, to an iPhone, to a mobile, Android, to a laptop, to a computer. It doesn't matter. And this font will help you to read better. Why? Because first, if you notice, letters are very similar. So we try to make the E closed over there with more ink over here. So it is heavier and you cannot rotate the letter. And we try to open up the C, which is larger, so you do not confuse with the E. And the H, it is longer over there than the N, which is really, really short. So you do not confuse both of them. Okay, and oh, there's lots of ink over there as well. So the heavy things helps you. And it really helps the students to read. Okay, and it's just a font as any other font that you want to, and it is totally free. Okay, service learning is strategy number 8. So I learned this when I went to the United States, and it's something that I've never heard before, and we started to apply it. So what's service learning about? So basically, it's approaching learning in a way that it comes out meaningful. So you do need a community need. So let's do something for our own community, okay? And in my case, I live on an island, and tourism is our big thing over here. So our students have got relatives working in the tourism industry. It's very, very common. And at the same time, my goal is to teach them English. So let's get the things together. I want them to learn English, and I want them to eventually find a job in tourism or to welcome tourists, because if tourists do not visit my island, we will economically suffer from it, which is happening right now due to COVID, right? So it is something very important for us. So what's my goal? I want them to learn English. I want them to communicate in English. Okay, so what are you going to do? So let's welcome this gang that visits us every now and then. So let's go into the streets. Let's take some maps with us, and let's address the tourists and ask them, hello, good morning, welcome. May I help you with some information? And for that, we have to Google, right? This is the place where I live. This is the view from my house. Okay, it's gorgeous. Okay, so if I have to give you some information, I will need to Google buses, bus transportation, museums. When was Madeira discovered? Who was the discoverer? What's our history? What are we famous for? Cristiano Ronaldo, the football player, was born over here. Yes, so what can we share about him? Right? What are the experiences that you must do? We do depend a lot on the ocean. Why is the ocean so important to us? And when we address the tourists for free, and just to give information, and if we're talking about kids of 12, 13, 14, and our tourists tend to be a bit older, they're like 70s, 80s, 60s, so they do have time, and the students can practice their English with a native speaker, give information, have instant feedback, and feel very encouraged and engaged because they can see the real thing. We did that in the streets, and last year we decided to do that at the airport. So for 3 months, we went to the airport every Monday morning, and we were there welcoming tourists and give information. How can you go to the city center? How much does a taxi cost? And they are experts in Madeira Island at the moment, and they are 13 years old. They know everything about Madeira. They did the group work. They are very good with their English and with their German because they speak English and German, and we teach them English and German. So they can, with 13 years old, they can speak Portuguese. Their English is quite strong, and their German is quite strong. So if they want to find a part-time job later in the tourism industry, it will be much easier, and it will help their income. At the same time, the airport gets the service for free. We just got some t-shirts offered by the airport, right? And we did quite a good thing for the others. So emotionally, you feel linked to your school, to your curriculum, and you can see it. We even won a prize last year because of this. We also use technology. Technology is very important for us. However, not all kids have got a laptop at home, of course, and not all our schools are well equipped as well. But Youglish is a very fun website, okay? Because you can practice your American English, your Australian English, your British English, okay? You just have to say it, choose the English that you want, and then it will Google it, and it will show you if it's American or British or Australian, okay? So it's very good to improve your English pronunciation if you want to. And encourage the kids to do that and to learn that more important than speaking like the Americans or speaking like the Brits, you just have to communicate. So that's our goal. We want you to speak in English, and we want the other person to understand you. If your accent is like a native speaker, that's not important anymore. I mean, if you go to London or to New York, the world lives there. So they speak English, and that's the thing. It doesn't mean if it is more British or more American. They have to understand you. That's our goal. We also use wordwall.net, where we can create puzzles and games in a very easy way. So if you are a teacher and if you need to organize a word search or a kind of a game for 5 or 10 minutes in the classroom, go to wordwall.net, and it's very, very useful. Okay. And this is another one. When you need a dictionary, Merriam-Webster is a dictionary that works offline, totally free, and you've got games as well linked to the app. So you can play a game with words, for example, right? And it's totally free, and we do encourage students to have that in the classroom. And this is another one. Do you know when you are really, really tired and you are reading a book for pleasure in your bed, late in the evening, and when you finish page number 10, you say, oh my gosh, let's try to recall one word of the page, and you cannot because you are so tired. Some of our students, that happens for them every day. So reading is difficult, and sometimes they are just so worried and so focused in reading that they read English properly, but they do not understand the content. So when that happens, we try to create a mind map. Okay, and it's so easy. If you go to this website, and I will stop sharing because I will show you. Give me a second. Yes, we are there. Yeah, so you don't have to download anything. You just Google and you write text to mind map. Okay, so what are we talking about today? Oh, we are talking about teaching strategies. Okay, and what are they? Oh, the silent games, for example, it's one. Oh, using technology is another one. And you do have the mind map on the right-hand side. At the same time that you do it, it will do the mind map. It's very, very easy. So then you can print it out and stick it in your notebook. So you have the information in a text, and you also have the same information, the key points, in a mind map. And that might help the way you learn. All right. So some people prefer text, some people prefer the mind map. Okay, it's very easy, no downloads at all. And you can even ask it as a homework. Let's summarize the main ideas of the text. Go to your mobile. You can do that during your break in 5 minutes or less. It's very, very easy. Okay, and it's personal, it's individual. Each of us can have a different one. Okay, so I'll stop share. I'll go back to my presentation. I will share the presentation with you, so you can it's easier to find the links. And this is another one. Let me stop sharing and I'll show it to you. So when you have a student that is super clever and you just say, oh my gosh, it's so good. Okay, so let's write an essay about your Christmas time. Okay, so what did you do? What kind of food have you eaten? And what were your favorite presents? What kind of clothes did you wear? Whatever you want. And it tells you everything about that. But when you ask him to write, he says, oh, teacher, I have no ideas. I cannot write. I know nothing now. So somehow that student that is brilliant when he speaks is not so good with writing, okay? Because he gets no ideas at all. Sometimes that happens. So what can we do? So it's very easy. We just go online again. We go to speech to note. We choose the language that we want, and I will try to check if I'm speaking proper Spanish. So I press the micro. Hola, ¿qué tal? And there it is. See? So it's brilliant. I can change the language. I can switch to English from UK. Hello, good morning. And it's there. So this is very useful. If you have to practice reading, okay, encourage your students to read to their mobiles, because they can open the internet on their mobiles and they can read, and what they read in the language they want will be over here. so they can check if their English is from the UK, from America, or from Australia, or from Canada, or from India, or New Zealand. It doesn't matter. Okay, if their Spanish is from Bolivia, or Argentina, or Chile, or Colombia, okay, and it's perfect. If you have a meeting with your co-teachers, you can say, okay, can you please speak to my micro, please? And it will be there. If you have to make a summary or write a note, it's super easy. Would you like to try your Spanish, Paula? Yeah, let's try it. So,
My Spanish?
Yes, let's go for it.
¿Qué onda? ¿Qué tal?
Wait, we'll do it again. We'll repeat.
Okay.
Let's go.
¿Qué onda? ¿Qué tal?
Yes, very good. Your Spanish is very good, Paula.
Oh, look at that. My Spanish works.
Yeah. See, so it's not difficult. You just have to open this link, no download at all, and you can have everything written. Right? Super easy. I do recommend it. Okay, let me go again. So speech to note. And this one is Kahoot. Do you know Kahoot? Oh, Kahoot is a fantastic game. So you can play it because they're all done. It's totally free and it's a game. And if you allow me, I would love to invite you to play this game with me. Is that all right? So you will need a telefono? No. You need a mobile, right, to play it. So let me stop share this one again. Give me one
cell phone
to prepare everything for you. There, here we go. Okay, I'm almost ready. All right, so we have to go to this website, kahoot.it. Okay, so kahoot.it, and then you have to insert a PIN, and the PIN is this one, 657242. So first go to the website, then write the PIN, and then write your name. Okay, so go to the website, kahoot.it, PIN 657242, and then your name. And you can see Paula, Gilda, how do you say, yeah, Gilda, Thomas, Tomasz, Caro, Vital, Sylvia, Maga. So over here you can see the number of players that are joining. Over here you can select the language that you want. You can choose Spanish as well if you want to, or any other language that you are interested in. Okay, and Kahoot is very, very easy because it is a game that you can build or you can use from the millions that are available for free. Okay, and the question will be on my screen, and the answers will be on my screen as well, but you have to click on your screen, on your mobile, on a particular color to give me the answer. Okay, so there is a time limit for that. Do you think I can start? Yeah? So let's go for it. So I click on start, and we've got 5 difficult questions. So this is the question. So what's the name of this webinar? Do you still remember the name? So now you can choose one of these and you click on the color on your screen. Okay, 6 of you got it right. Yes, that was the question, the answer, right? Who was the fastest? Tomasz. Well done, Tomasz. All right, let's go for the next one. How many strategies were presented? Nine strategies. Let's check. Okay, Paula, very good. Tomasz. Let's go for the third one. Remember UDL? What does it stand for? Universal Design for Learning. So if you notice, we are never showing the person that did not succeed. So the ones that fail will never be here. So again, we are encouraging and praising the best ones because you get individual feedback on your own screen, right? Paula, you are there, unstoppable. And what's my name? Yeah, Rob, very good. There you are. Okay, ready for the last one. Last question, and feel free to answer. Yes, all of them are correct. Okay, now our winner is. So if you come to Madeira, I promise I'll give you a big hug. To Camila, to Maga, and to Paula. Well done, you. Very good. Okay, let me stop sharing and let me share it again. One sec. So if you go to Kahoot, you just have to go to Discover, and you write, let's find me a Kahoot about present simple. And you've got all this for present simple, and it's done. You just have to play it. If you want, you can build it as well, but if you want to use something that is already ready, you can use it for free. Okay? If you want something in Spanish, for example, if you are teaching Spanish or anything that you want to share, okay, there are millions of Kahoots ready to make, ready to play. Okay, so it's very, very, very easy. So kahoot.it. Okay, so we are almost done. And it's always a great fun to play with the kids. What's the most important thing to tell you? Well, we make a difference in this world because we are teachers. And we do have to encourage these kids. We have to engage them in the learning process. And above all, we have to empower them because they are the next generation and they will change the world for better. They will pay for our retirement when we are old enough for that, right? So we do want them to change the world. And the teachers are the only ones, no matter where we live, that can contribute to that. So we can change the world. So glory, that's the end of my story. I hope you have liked it. If you have any question, please feel free to ask me.
Yes, here in the chat box, it's a question for you. Okay. It says, is there any font type recommended to make written materials for students with special needs?
The font, yes, the Open Dyslexic. Yes, that is the font. Okay, I can type it and show it to you where you can get it for free. So you can download the font from this website. I'm typing that in the box. All right. Any other question?
Yes, it says, how far does UDL differ from the theory of multiple intelligences?
Much more. There's a huge way between both, because multiple intelligences, you are providing information for them in the way that they learn, but UDL is not related to that. UDL is focused on removing barriers from the learning process. Okay, so you are not applying it to multiple intelligence, you are just removing barriers. For example, I sometimes tend to stay lots of time as a teacher at the back of the classroom, just in the end, instead of being in the front, or sometimes on the right, or sometimes calling out the same students over and over again. And that's a barrier for the others. So UDL tries to remove all barriers of me as a teacher, of the course book, for example, of my notes on the blackboard, for example. So it's making everyone feeling included. And the multiple intelligence is slightly different.
Nice.
Exactly. Removing the barrier, but not within the type of learner. Because if you remove the barrier, you will meet the needs of all learners, no matter what type of intelligence do they have.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
So, now we have
Another question?
Oh, yeah.
No more questions, people? Nope, apparently. I have a question.
Please.
Oh.
Okay, so have you ever had a student that is like very young but very good, and it's like it's so good that it makes you feel out of your comfort zone and you don't know how to handle it? And if so, how did you handle it?
Well, we do have a lot of native speakers because we are
Oh.
very popular destination for Brits that want to retire in Madeira, and sometimes they come along with their children, and they are native speakers, of course. So somehow, if you are a language teacher, you might feel a bit threatened by that because sometimes they do a mistake every now and then. Okay, and my experience and my way of being in life is saying that that's better. If you know more than me, it's perfectly fine. Just help me. So somehow, and again, with thanks to UDL, they can be as good as they are, and they can follow a different way when they choose the method to learn. They can go deeper, and you can use them. And if you use the traffic light system, if they are on the green zone, on the green traffic light, they can help the others as well, and that will be a plus for all of us. I'll never feel threatened, and I'm very humble. So if I say a mistake in English, if I say I did went, oh, it says, oh, teacher, that's wrong. You say I went, right? Or I did, or I did go, for example. If it is a question, did you go? And if I say, did I went, for example, I said, oh, okay, thank you. I'm more than fine. I can admit a mistake. I do make mistakes. It's true. It's real. I'm human. So just correct me. Help them to teach properly.
Yeah.
So I don't feel threatened, to be honest.
Okay, so we have another question here. Have you ever heard about the brain gym method to use it as a part of treatment with those children with dyslexia?
I've never heard about the brain gym, and I do not believe that you can treat dyslexia. Dyslexia is a feature, something that you're born with. You are dyslexic, okay? So reading, you struggle a bit to learn reading, and reading is more challenging to you. However, if we apply different strategies, eventually very similar to brain gym, which I'm not familiar with, you can improve. So the font, the colors, and all the stationery, if you improve on your short-term memory, for example, is very important. That will help you. But I'm not familiar with brain gym methods.
Nice. Miss Sylvia, she's always working with us with brain gym. That's what she's asking.
Uh, but I will Google it. I promise you.
Yeah. It's in order to help those children to learn. That's what she says.
Okay.
Especially like when we're tired, she makes us do exercises like I can never do it. It's like with their thing, like, I don't know, and then stretches and stuff like that. It's very interesting.
It's-
Funny. Yeah.
Yeah, and it wakes you up, especially when we have classes early in the morning, like it wakes you up.
They get tired easier than the others. That's true.
Yeah. We also dance with her.
Yeah.
Okay, any more questions, people?
I hope it was useful for you.
Yes, absolutely.
Super.
Okay.
So interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ron, for being with us, for being patient with us, for sharing your experience, your wisdom, for sharing your creativity and your inspiration. That's thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. Well, now I think that the kids are going to share some video with you and the rest of the audience. So, do you think that you can?
Yeah.
Paula, or I don't know, maybe Thomas.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't forget to share your audio.
Okay. So wait a minute. Okay.
Wow, that was so good. That's chamamé. That's a traditional type of music from here.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think by the looks of it, it's Misiones, my province.
Right. Yes, it is Misiones. Yes, that's one of the provinces in the north of Argentina.
Very beautiful.
Yeah. Misiones is,
right.
yeah. We share the border with Paraguay and Brazil. So it's the triple border. It's famous for it.
Wow.
And the statue that you saw in the video, that's Andresito Wacurari. He's a native, a Guarani native. He's like a founding father in Misiones. It's, yeah, historical figure.
Yeah, it's amazing. Lovely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being with us and to the audience as well for joining us and being with us today. That was such a nice occasion for us.
All right, so I will email you my presentation. So if you want to share it, feel free. Okay. And thank you as well. Gracias a todos. Me ha gustado mucho. Right?
I don't know if the audience would like to unmute. Yes, the people in the audience, to unmute yourself and just let us clap our hands to Rom.
No, to you, not to me.
Come on.
All right, thank you.
Very nice. Wonderful.
We want COVID to go away so we can travel again and meet each other again, right? So let's hope it for 2021. It will be wonderful for all of us. We don't want 2020 no more. It's more than enough. So we want a new year and a very wealthy and healthy for all of us.
Yeah.
So we celebrate Christmas as well.
Yes. You do.
Yes.
So have a wonderful and Merry Christmas. And I do hope to see at least one of you, just one of you in 2021. All right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, you take care. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.